canceled our flight, so we live here now.
Cancun is one of the most popular beaches in the world, and tourists from all over the world come to vacation here. In this video, we'll be going over what to do, where to stay, and I will answer some questions like, do cops really ask for bribes, and what is the nightlife like there? We'll cover all these topics as we explore around the city and try to discover whether you can still find a cheap meal in Cancun.
Travel videos, tips, and recommendations.
For some reason my audio cut out, but what I was trying to say was, hey guys, it's Jake. Welcome to the channel where I share travel videos, tips, and recommendations. And in today's video, we'll be talking about Cancun, Mexico. We'll talk about all the things that I mentioned a couple seconds ago, and you should stick around to the end to get the total recommendations of things to do, because we weren't able to do everything.
But first, if you guys can tap that like button, it just lets YouTube know that people like the content, so it will get shared with more people, which is a help for a small channel like me. All right, let's dive into Cancun.
Cancun is a Mexican city on the Yucatán Peninsula, which borders the Caribbean Sea. Cancun is known for its beaches, numerous resorts, nightlife, and for being a famous destination for students on spring break. Cancun is composed of two distinct areas: the more traditional downtown area, El Centro, and Zona Hotelera, a long beachfront strip of high-rise hotels, nightclubs, shops, and restaurants. The hotel zone has water on both sides. You have the beach, but also the lagoon. We stayed in a condo Airbnb, which was a part of the Oleo Cancun resort in the hotel zone. This was kind of cool because we had access to all of their facilities, and if we wanted to pay to use any of their restaurants or bars, we had that option as well. The room was $98 per night, and as you can see from this room tour, it was totally worth it. And just look at that view. I'm just messing with you, that view kind of sucks. Once we checked in, we headed over to Navios for some dinner. The restaurant was pretty safe. They made you wash your hands and it took your temperature before you could come in. The restaurant sat over the lagoon, and as you can see, it is lit up with bistro lights. Whenever we scrolled the menu, there weren't prices listed, so I was hesitant that we would be way overpriced. So we just ordered some appetizers and got out of there, but I might have slightly overreacted because it was in the same price point as everything else. When we got back to the hotel, we didn't feel like partying in the lobby, so we chose the elevator instead and then headed down to the beach to enjoy the rest of the night with some snacks we got from the gas station. Well, that was until this bird tried to attack us. And I'm just kidding. I think he wanted a bug or something and then got out of there. So that is it for day number 1. I'll see you guys tomorrow. How do they do that? Like, I'm still here. Let's try that again. That was so cheesy. I had to leave it in. We went to find some breakfast, but that was either going to be at another hotel, so we figured that we would just walk down to the lobby where they have a restaurant. But we were thinking that if we had to go somewhere else, we might as well just test out what we have downstairs. The place was decorated pretty nice. They had almost every kind of juice that you could imagine. Yogurts, different kinds of cereals, fruits, normal breakfast stuff like pancakes, different kinds of breakfast hashes, an omelet station, Mexican coffee, and you could get all of this for the grand total of $20 per person, which is way overpriced. We have about an hour and a half until we need to take our test to get back into the US, so we'll walk the beach, relax until then. Given the current state of the illness, you now need to test negative within the last 3 calendar days before being allowed to get back into the United States. This will just be a new norm that we will need to plan for when trying to travel internationally. The best time to visit Cancun is from December to April, which is their peak season, Even though the crowds may be larger, you'll experience near perfect weather and find some of the cheapest flights and room rates for a winter getaway at the beach. And after our nice walk, we had to go take our test, which they had a location on site, which was great. This was the first time that either one of us had taken a test which required you to put the thing so far up your nose, which I was kind of interested about, but it was just as bad as you can imagine. Both of our tests came back negative, which is obviously a huge plus, so we spent a little bit of time just relaxing by the beach, trying to recover. The hotel had quick access to the beach and provided chairs for you to use, so we spent some time pretending to read before heading into the water, and if you time it just right, you might be able to see some dolphins.
We're on our way to try and go find some lunch that's not going to cost us $20.
Right across the street from our hotel was this restaurant which overlooked the lagoon. It also required you to sanitize and take your temperature upon arrival, and they served a variety of Mexican food.
We failed on our goal of going under $20 per person, but we actually knew about it this time, which made it slightly better.
We spent the day relaxing on the beach, and now we're about to head out for dinner. The hotel zone is broken up over 6 or 7 miles, and we're staying on the south side, and we're gonna head up to the north side, which has a lot of the touristy areas like the Hard Rock Cafe or Coco Bongo. We're gonna continue our journey to find a cheap meal, but I'm not too optimistic. While in the hotel zone, there is a red bus that takes you up and down the island. The buses are cheap and come frequently, and most bus drivers are very courteous and will stop even if you're not waiting at a bus stop. You will have to pay a fare, which is based on per person, and the driver will hand you a ticket or a receipt. Just a heads up, the buses may not have amenities like air conditioning or seat cushions. These are all things that I read before my trip, since we had rented a car because we were going to drive down to Tulum, so we never used the bus system. The Cancun hotel zone is almost entirely built around the tourist industry. There are numerous all-inclusive resorts, and the internet tells me that the city currently has more than 30,000 hotel rooms. There are also numerous shopping malls with a variety of high-end retailers, which you saw like Gucci, Prada, and Fendi. When trying to go down to the busy area, parking it can be a challenge, so we ended up finding a grocery store and were able to park there as long as we spend 100 pesos, which is basically $5 US, and that seemed worth it. For dinner, we stumbled across La Tequileria. Yes, I know, that's pretty awful. The restaurant was like a French bistro mixed with a Mexican restaurant, and they also had live music. They serve these massive drinks, so just prepare that if you order the normal size, it's gonna be pretty big. The food and drinks were about the same price as everything else, which is about $12 per thing. The next stop was to head around the corner and just take a peek at what the nightlife was like. For copyright reasons, I'm not able to play some of the actual music, so I'll throw in what it really sounds like. So that was crazy. We went over to the touristy area, and that was crazy. It was like walking around in Las Vegas. There was live, loud music. There were dancers. There was just a lot of bright lights. It was not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting a touristy area, but not quite like that. The hunt to find a cheap meal will continue. We spent the day in Tulum, and I will be coming out with the video shortly that details that. That whole day was kind of interesting because we were pulled over by the cops on our way there. When the cops pulled us over, it took him a few minutes before he asked for a 500 peso bribe, which is equivalent to 25 US dollars. When I told him I didn't have the money, he was explaining how that's going to be a problem for us. I ended up giving him a $20, so good news, you are able to negotiate your bribe. When we got back to Cancun, we went to a place called Captain's Cove, which, just like everywhere else, made you sanitize, wash your feet, and took your temperature before you were allowed to enter. Like a lot of the other restaurants we went to, it was located on the lagoon with an assortment of semi-expensive food. Still not a cheap meal, so tomorrow we're gonna go into Cancun town, so see you then. Cancun is a city with a population of about 750,000 people, which is similar to the population of Seattle in the United States. So we wanted to see what the city had to offer and try to get away from that hotel zone price range. We're here in the center of Cancun trying to find a cheap meal. Transition. We did find cheap $1 tacos, but passed those up to go to Cafe Antoinette, which was a cute little bakery that had a variety of coffee, drinks, pastries, and normal American breakfasts. The place resembled a French bakery, had a cool inside and also a backyard garden. The restaurant wasn't necessarily cheap, but it was cheaper than where we had been. The food was really good. The restaurant was cute. There was like a garden and the interior chairs and all the things. And overall, it was a great experience. We spent the rest of the day checking out the northern part of the hotel zone, seeing the beaches that they have there, before making it back to our own beach to enjoy the rest of the day. We were supposed to have an early 8 a.m. flight out, so we went across the street to our cheap Mexican food place and laid low for the rest of the night. We wanted to get to the airport early because we had to return our rental car, as well as with all the precautions, we want to make sure that we were able to get through security easily.
Do any of those leave before 11 a.m.?
Get into Denver, we can get it direct, I feel.
We're kind of lucky that we got there so early because from the time we left our Airbnb and got to the airport, our flight had been canceled. There was no option for us to get home that day, so we actually had to just book a one-way into Denver. We felt more comfortable about getting back into the States, and then we would have more options on trying to get home. We then had to go to the ATM to take out some money to pay for the $40 US taxi ride back to our Airbnb. We then scrambled to find a flight home and a place to stay in Denver. A little bit of an update, they were able to give us a flight back into the States instead of trying to wait down here for another day or two. We just thought that it would be the best to get back in the States. This all happened before 9:30 a.m. so we just hung out until our checkout in the Airbnb at 11, since we had some time to kill.
Still trying to kill some time, and now we're gonna grab some food where we're basically regulars.
Because we didn't want to carry our luggage with us, we asked the hotel if we could keep our bags there, but because we weren't staying there, the guy said that if we wanted to give him a few extra bucks, he was able to hold on to them. The more time you spend in Mexico, the more that you realize that the country runs on bribes. So we had to bribe the cops, we had to bribe for the hotel to hold our luggage. It seems like that is what is really a common thing to do. There are worse places to be stranded, but it's really the idea that we don't really have a whole lot to do other than waiting to go back to the airport. We don't have a room, we're just kind of hanging out in the lobby and trying to enjoy the view. We then waited around until our 5:40 p.m. flight. We were able to be taken to the airport by the same person that dropped us off in the morning, but this time it was only $25. But we had no trouble getting through security and naturally had some time to kill, so we headed to Flavortown. Naturally, our flight was delayed about an hour, and when we got to Denver, there was snow on the ground. There was another early morning and a requirement of coffee and the cool vlog Keurig montage before heading back to the airport.
Not even 12 hours later and we're back.
The rest of the process went kind of what you would imagine. We went through security really easily, but whenever we got to the airport, there was another hour delay where we just sat on the tarmac before making it home finally. Other things we weren't able to do in Cancun, which we do offer, is El Rey, which is an archaeological site of the pre-Columbian Mayans, which is in the hotel zone. The entrance fee is only a couple dollars, but we had gone to the ruins in Tulum, and I saw pictures of these ones and they seem less impressive, but they are still an option. Then 2.5 hours away, you have Chichen Itza. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right or wrong, but it is a massive Mayan complex with a step-up pyramid, and they were a thriving culture around 600 AD. Nearby is a famous cenote Ikil, which again, I'm not sure if I pronounced it right or wrong, but when comparing that temple and the cenote to the ones we saw in Tulum, I haven't been to those ones, but I think that I would prefer to go to those ones. They are a little bit farther away, but I think that they would just be more impressive. Cancun also has a lot of those beach destination activities, such as renting jet skis or going parasailing. There are also a variety of markets as well where you can find cheap tourist items like a poncho or those goofy t-shirts. But we've been to Mexico numerous times. We kind of knew what to expect there, so we steered clear this time. That is all for this video, so thanks so much for watching, and hope you guys have a better idea of what to do in Cancun. And if you want more travel destinations, you can check out my channel page, or there is a link down below for some travel articles. And if you want to be around for when I post my next video, do not forget to subscribe. See you guys next time.